Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening and a warm welcome to the Red and Blue Review. My name is Nick Philpott and I'm your host for the next hour or so. My panel this evening is Nigel Crouch at Top North. Nigel, good evening, mate.
Good evening. Keeping well?
Yeah, all good, mate. I'm glad you got back safely from the game yesterday.
Yeah,
Hogan, my wingman. Hello, bud.
How you doing? You all right?
None of your business, is it, really? But apart from that, I'm fine, mate, but thank you for asking. We have got another guest on somewhere. Is he coming? Is he going to come and join us, do you think? Yeah, exactly.
Like most of his tackles, he'll be late, don't worry.
Mr. Cannon, welcome back to the review, mate. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Aren't you feeling a little bit dirty at the moment? Didn't you go and play with 5-year plan for a show last weekend?
Yeah, they said come on a good show, so I thought I'd go and speak to them.
It's a fair point.
It is a fair point.
Agree.
At least they're professional, I suppose. You need to go and disinfect yourself, mate. Anyway, buddy, welcome back to the show again. And I know that you're going to be on 2 or 3 more times before Christmas. Is that right?
Yep.
Good stuff, man. We're delighted to have you, mate. Anytime you want. Ladies and gentlemen out there, welcome to the review. There's loads of you out there I can see already. I can see the numbers building up as we speak. Don't forget to ask your smart speaker, please, to play the latest Red and Blue Review podcast. The podcast of this show will be up and live immediately after the show. Please share it on Palace Face, all your Palace favourites Facebook groups with all your Palace supporting friends. Give them a chance to have a listen as well. You can actually listen or watch us back as live right now. Simultaneously, we're broadcasting on our YouTube channel. Please, once you get over to our YouTube channel, give it a hit, the like and the share button. Leave us a comment underneath. We're going to be watching all. Tim Richards down in New Zealand. I can see you. Good morning, mate. You're coming home soon. We look forward to having you back in the UK. So, coming up on tonight's show, we're going to be going into details about the Goal Fest at Turf Moor. We're going to be discussing how the ladies got on today and some news from around the club. Okay, we're going to start with the ladies, if you don't mind. Greg, have you got that graphic for the girls, please? So the ladies, I want to stipulate so you guys know there are full-time ladies teams and there are part-time ladies teams. Our girls are playing in the first division. Go on, mate.
We're women.
Oh, we're called the Palace Women's Team.
They are Palace Women.
No offence meant, but you're quite right. Okay, so in the Palace Women's Team, in the league, there's full and part-time teams. Okay, we have got a part-time team. Okay, because of today's result. Okay, and they won 3-1, I believe it was, away at Blackburn, 2-1, and it was that has moved us up into 3rd position. An early goal in the 4th minute from Bianca Baptiste, giving us the lead, and that took us into half-time. On the 80th minute, Sophie McLean extended the lead, and Blackburn scored an 87th minute consolation. This moves us up to 3rd in the league. Brilliant, really good. Now, Michael Middleton, who keeps me posted with all things Palace Women, has sent you guys a message, and the message is: would anybody like to design a flag that I'm having made for the women's team? Now, if you've ever been to one of the Palace women's teams, they're flying the flag, lots of Palace flags, always at every home game. Michael is actually having one made. His question to you all: would you like to design it? He's going to have it made, but with your design. Tom Clark, Sam, you in particular, I'm throwing this in your direction. Everybody can hear the dog going mental in the background. And if you'd like your design on his flag, please give him a shout. Right, I'm going to hand over very quickly to Nigel. Nigel has got a message while I go and sort out this mutt in the background. Nigel.
All right, cheers, Nick. Sadly, today we heard the passing of John Saul. Just a few words. John David Saul, he was born on the 7th of July, 1936 at Brockley, South London. Sadly, he died November 2021, aged 85. He had been living in America for many years, but had been suffering with dementia. John played for Palace 231 times and scored 6 goals between 1963 and 1971. He became club captain in 1967-68, and in 1969 he led Palace to the first division for the first time in the club's history. His most remembered goal came in 1970. in the closing seconds of a Division 1 match against league leaders Leeds United at Selhurst Park at the Holmesdale Road end. Leeds were a goal up when the ball came to Sewell 30 yards from goal, who chose to hit a speculative lob back into the penalty area. The Leeds keeper at the time was Gary Sprake. He caught the ball at his goal line, then inexplicably he dropped it behind him into his own net. Selhurst Park absolutely erupted that afternoon. R.I.P. John Sewell.
Yeah, absolutely, and thank you for that, Nigel. I also got contacted. I'm sorry, this is all negative to start with, okay, and we will lighten it up in a minute. By Michael Montgomery. Michael contacted me to say that to inform us of the sad passing of Danny Warren, Fly High Eagle, and it's very sad news indeed. Okay, boys, we're going to do the game shortly. I'm going to do a couple of the other results. The under 23s. How did they get on, Nigel? They were playing. Oh, yeah, that's right. They were playing away at Liverpool over the weekend, and they ran out 3-0 winners. Scott Banks before half time, he scored a 50th minute penalty as well. Nia Kirby in the 71st minute, and the under 18s also did well. They played away at Fulham and in a 1-1 draw. So that's an update from around the club and bits and pieces from around. And before we actually get in, and we will be reviewing it, and there's the table for you. Thank you, Greg. Before we get into the main review, ladies and gentlemen, and boys, you're going to have to forgive me. I'm not going to involve you in this bit here, okay? Because obviously what I'm about to speak to you, to everybody about, is of a more serious nature. Ladies and gentlemen, out in Facebook land, some of you will or will not know that there are some disturbing stories, videos, posts from around those that travelled to Burnley yesterday. Some major unsavoury incidences, and I've been told up to as many as 30 different fights going on in and amongst the Palace faithful yesterday. These are Palace fans fighting Palace fans. I'm not going to name groups or get involved in it because I couldn't care less who they are. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you know of what's going on, I'll leave you to put the comments in the chat. That's down to you. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just say we are a Palace family. We are one club. Please, whatever your beef is, go and find yourself a lockable warehouse somewhere and go and batter each other away from our club. It's nothing to do with football. It's nothing to do with Crystal Palace, okay? You're just two factions of fans, okay, who have developed a dislike for each other over the last couple of years. I know what it's about. We all know what it's about, okay? We all know the people involved. It doesn't matter. Give it a rest. You know, somebody is going to get seriously injured. People did get hurt yesterday. There was lots of blood on the videos that I saw. One bloke got thrown onto the train tracks at Euston yesterday, okay? What's it going to take? What's it going to take, guys, before you settle down and get on with your lives and grow a pair and grow up? Do you need somebody to get stabbed? Because it's coming. It's escalating. From 2 years ago, it's escalating. Yesterday's scenes prove that. Are you waiting for somebody to die? Because that's going to happen too. So it could have easily happened yesterday. Please, for the love of God, grow up, okay, and get over your beef. Talk to each other and sort it out. Life is too short. Life is too short. Please get on with it. Joe, anything you'd like to add before we move on?
Nothing. Obviously, condolences to the two families, the two Eagles that have passed. But I'll just have I don't want to comment about the trouble. Again, you know they are. I know they are. Most of us know they are. Let's hope they can sort it out because it's only going to be detrimental to the club in the end. You know, if they can carry on doing what they're doing, but it literally, you know, police are involved. Those people have been arrested. It's going to be a nightmare. Obviously, football banning orders, and you know, it's all on CCTV. So, but yeah, just try to sort it out, guys. But just quickly, I just want to go into the chat. John Knox, Tom Clark Samuel, Nadeem Said, Graham Kitchen, Kitcher, Phil Usher. There's a ton of people in here. Aaron Mayers, Luke Cooper, Paul White, Paul Bristow, Tim Richards. Good morning, Tim. Brad Campagnac, Lee Clark, Mukta Butter, Michael Middleton, Gary Fisher, Richard Thomas, Mickey Philpott, Mackenzie Kerr, Rel Panny,
Paul, good evening,
Dave
mate.
Tony CD, amongst a whole host of people. I'll do another name check in a little while. There's a ton of you out there. So, but yeah, it's I'm in the back garden, Paul, just in case. Paul Holden, where am I?
Teresa says she's
but
absolutely fixated by Janelle's Top Gun background. What's the Top Gun background? I can't see what she's looking at. You got Top Gun plate?
Film.
Oh, is it
yeah,
plate?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've said,
Right, so we'll get on to what's going on the positive side of the club. Palace extended their undefeated sequence to 7, 5 of which have been draws. And before today's games, actually sat ninth, but they're actually currently sitting 10th after today's game. Prior to the trip, so we've got an interesting stat, Jim. Prior to the trip to Burnley, 87% of Palace's goals so far this season have been scored in the second half and only 13% in the first half. With yesterday's 3-goal blitz, it's now up to 72% in the second and up to 28% in the first half. Overall, you saw the game. I'm going to ask you a defender's question. I think Joachim Andersen and Mark Guéhi have been magnificent and are magnificent players. I think Mark Guéhi will go on to captain England in the future. From a defender's point of view, why are we so poor at defending set pieces, mate?
Well, if we all knew that answer, we wouldn't be letting goals in. I think it's the games I've seen, and certainly the goals yesterday. It's always apart from the first one. I mean, I've got no problem with the lad running in and having a real challenge against one of our players, climbing above him and going in the back of the net. But I've got a problem when you see that ball being flicked on so many times, and it almost seems as if all the defenders get dragged towards the ball, even though the man's standing behind them. And invariably it gets flicked on, goes to their man, and he gets a shot at goal. We're not the biggest side at the back either, so I don't think that helps. And especially against a team like Burnley, that's the way they play. And that's why probably against teams like Manchester City, everything was more on the floor and we were getting loads of blocks in and defending really well. As soon as it's put in the air, we've got a little bit of a problem. Basically, he's just got to work on it. It's got to be 100% concentration. Like, if you're not involved in that first challenge with the ball, you've got to make sure that you can see your man at the side of you. And I don't see that. I see players almost following in behind the guy that's gone for the ball, and ball's being flicked on, and other people getting in behind them. And it's not easy to cut out, but you can make it really difficult for a guy to get an easy shot or an easy header at goal. If you're getting a challenge there, he's not going to get anything real good contact. So I think it's maybe a little bit of inexperience as well with some of the players. You know, Mitchell, he's a young lad coming in. Even Betty Ehe, he's still a young lad. You know, like, he's not played much in the Premiership. So I think we'll get better at it. But at the moment, it's obviously a problem because we're letting quite a few goals in.
Andrew Adams in the chat and Teresa Baker have just both asked you the same question simultaneously. Do we have or do we need a defensive coach?
We've probably got a defensive coach. We look as if we've got about 10 coaches there. So, yeah, that will be something they're working on all the time. So, yeah, I don't think there's players there, there's coaches there that can more than look after a back four and a midfield three if they're all defending. So, yeah, there is players there. They've just got to work at it. They've got to get better at it because at the moment it's costing us quite a few goals.
It's the one place where we're gel. It's the one place, as Ian Noble just put in the chat, is the one place that we are top of the league on. We've conceded 9 goals from set plays so far this season, the highest in the league. Can you see a way, apart from what Jim just said? Can you see a way of changing that?
Well, it's a plan, isn't it? Again, like Jim said, that they're a bigger side than us. They play on the on the huff and puff and getting up there. I mean, Ben Mee, the way that he got above two of our players to head that ball was more of a case that he was more, he got the jump as well, but he was just absolutely committed to that header. It always makes a difference. They're always thumping headers when the most committed player gets there first. He got the jump, got the header, thumps it. Keeper had no chance at all. But yeah, and again, if they're going to play it around, it's always been a problem for us. So we used to be mustard in the air. We had a big side. Do you remember the problems we had with Jedinak? The ball in the air, he was going to smash you every time. Put the ball on the floor, you just pass it around him. Teams suss you out. They have players. They have staff to go. My mate Alex Smales used to do it for Liverpool. He used to games. They were playing Palace in 3 weeks. He'd watch us against Chelsea and against Aston Villa, and then he'd report back to Liverpool and go, "They're actually crap at set pieces. Let's get a couple of big lads up there, and we'll bully them." It's just that's football. City, very small side, apart from John Stones, and so they pass it around. And again, like you say, they're not trying to. They're just trying to pass the ball around and hit low shots, and so it's an easier challenge to defend. But listen, we've come a mile since last season, and again, like I said to you, I don't care. The football I want to see is us winning 4-3, 3-2, 2-1. I don't care. I'm not worried about us getting free. We never lost. We could have lost that game. We've had games, haven't we? Swansea in the past when we lost 5-4 in the last minute, and we're conceding last-minute goals that cost us. Didn't concede the last-minute goal like we nearly did yesterday. It might be a bit of a habit, but it's something that we've got to get used to. That games are 95 minutes and not 90. But yeah, I'm just happy with what we're doing, and if you can look at the bigger picture, hopefully we'll be getting bigger players as well.
At the beginning of what you were saying, Jill, I honestly thought present company. Okay, think about present company. I honestly thought you were going to say. You said we've always been rubbish at it. We've never had particularly big defenders. Bear in mind who's sitting alongside you. Okay, I'm thinking, no, don't do it, Jill. Don't do it, Jill. Don't do it, Jill.
Shoot yourself.
Jim, tell me.
I recanted a story, Nick. Hang on, I recanted a story to Jim when we was guests of Kev Lyons about a game. I don't know whether it was the FA Cup, but anyway, we went up to Cambridge. It was a nightmare up there, families, and he scored an own goal in, I think it was the 87th minute. We lost 1-0. Unless my memory is so bad, so. You don't start throwing stones in this greenhouse.
Having a clue who you're talking about. I've scored a few own goals, but I don't remember scoring against Cambridge. I'll take your word for it.
In the FA Cup. In the FA Cup.
It must have been a good one, though.
Yeah, be a bullet header, mate. Top corner.
Did you ever play with Paul Barron?
Yes, of course I did. Yeah.
I think he was in goal. I think he was. Was he? Goal. Yeah.
Oh well, you got to blame him. Yeah, he was useless.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the goalkeepers because we're going to come on to the lineup in a minute, boys. But we're talking about the high balls and the set pieces into the box. Is Vicente Guaita, Nigel? I'm going to come to you on this. Is Vicente Guaita commanding enough in the box?
No, I don't think he commands as well as he could. Sort of his stopping is very good from the shots, but I think when it comes to set pieces, it's just people are running around him. There's sort of yesterday, I saw Chet Coyote. He just stood there and watched the ball come over, then watched it come back over again into the net. So. There's nobody given a line of command. Okay. So you think back in the days when Sean Derry was there barking the orders. So we want somebody on that back line barking out who goes where and when.
Actually, somebody just mentioned in the chat, I think it was Ian Noble said in the chat that we don't put enough people on the posts during these corners, and I think I think that point is well made. So the lineup yesterday, obviously Guaita in goal, the static back four that we've had now for a while of Ward, Anderson, Gihey, and Mitchell, who I think are still doing well as a formation. A bit of a change in the midfield, of course, with Gallagher, Milivojevic in for Maka. Again, big loss, I think, because Maka's had a great season. And Kouate, or what did you call him, Nige?
Czech karate.
Oh yeah, that's not what you called him a minute ago. But Ayew on one side, Zaha, who I think had a slightly less of a game yesterday, and Benteke up top. Kev Lyons asking you in the chat, Jill, how do you think Benteke is doing this year? Bearing in mind it was you that wanted to ship him out.
Oh, you want my personal opinion?
Yeah. Kev
oh, sorry. You. Yeah. No. Listen, you know, I've always said that if a player gets picked, he gets my support. You know, it is what it is. But I mean, he can score 30 goals, but over 5 years, he could score 30 goals this season. If he does, it'll be fantastic because we'll be in Europe. But you know, he's had 5 years. I don't think his whole 5 years he would have scored 65 goals or whatever. But listen, it's not go backwards. He's gone forward. He looks leaner. He looks meaner. And the thing I found with Benteke yesterday, look at his goal. The 2 goals, he had no time. Got the ball pumped to him really hard, and then he's sort of shifted it. He's controlled it, banged it. I know it's taking a small deflection to beat the goalkeeper. That's irrelevant. But he had no time to do that, bang. And then when Gallagher puts him in, and again, he's got no time, bang. But anytime he has time, that header, I mean, that header, he should score that all day. To be, if he goes anywhere, apart from straight to goalkeeper, it's, you know. But then I thought their goalkeeper had a great game yesterday. You know, the point blank header. I know Gay scored anyway, but he's a good goalkeeper, Pope. And the save from Wilf is a game saver for them. That goes in, they're dead. That's the end of that. I mean, that's a screamer. They're deflated. But yeah, I mean, while you're going on about goalkeepers, I just need to say about him commanding his area. Anytime we ever take a floaty free kick, which drives me mad, right? The opposition goalkeeper always gets it. Their second goal was a floaty free kick. I thought he could have read that a little bit better, come out and just you know, he could have just clumped a load of players going for the ball. But obviously that gets headed back across the area and they score. So, but yeah, that's the only gripe I've got from Guaita yesterday.
So Gilles given me just used up all my notes for the next 15 minutes. Okay, he's talked about. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching the Red and Blue review. Good night. Okay.
I've got loads in the chat. All right.
Yeah, do the
chat. The third goal, you could not fault.
Should we do the goals as they happen? Start telling me about the bloody third goal. We haven't done the first goal yet. Jill, let's do the chat, and then we're going to start. We'll go through the goals as they happen.
Well, I mean, the chat's just moved on. You know, obviously they've left us behind on stats and everything. But Rob Cranfield said Maka is that player to let the opposition know he's there, and he was clearly missed. We clearly missed that yesterday. Ryan Hinton said Burnley done a job us in the air, and at set pieces would have taken a draw as our on form. And I'll tell you what. Having said that, I had us to score 3 yesterday, but I only had them to score 1. But we scored 3. You know, there's a few people in here saying Paul Holden 3-3. At least it was entertaining on and off the pitch. You know, as Luke Cooper said, there's players that are tired from England's. Kev Lyons is referring to your top perm, Jim, back in the day, I think. But yeah, I mean, you know, we're already just miles in this. But I think the consensus is that we're going in the right direction. We're scoring. You know, I know he said, you know, on Friday when he did his press conference that he wanted us to be more clinical in the top end of the field, which we were. And he thinks so were they. So, but yeah, I think it was a fair reflection, bearing in mind that either team could have won it. Like I said, Zaha Grima goes in, we win it, and then Vidra. It was a bit of a worldie, really, because he's a good player and he's quick, Vidra. But yeah, We could have both teams could have won it at the end.
Right, so now he's done all that. Okay, he's finished the game off, and we haven't even done the first goal yet. So, Jim, Benteke's first goal was a ball in from the right, quickly controlled by Anderson, who I've got to tell you, that bloke in my mind is a bit of a baller. Anderson slips a quick ball through to Benteke, who controls it with his right foot, strikes it with his left foot into the net. Thank you, Greg. Quick feat by Benteke. Your thoughts on the goal, Jim?
Yeah, it was a good goal. I mean, obviously Anderson's seen him inside him, setting him up, but he still had a bit of work to do, Benteke. I mean, it wasn't a great strike, but it's one of them. A lot of centre forwards score a lot of goals like that every weekend. Just hit the target, took a slight deflections in the back of the net. I mean, here's your point about Benteke. I mean, I've been giving Benteke stick for years.
Yeah.
When I'm in Spironis, because sometimes I just looked at them and I thought, you're total waste of space. I don't like people that go on the park and don't look as if they're trying, and I got an impression. I think the best thing that ever happened to Benteke was the lockdown last year, because the last 10, 15 games of the season, he come back in, he'd no crowd, he'd obviously lost a lot of confidence, he'd no crowd on him, he just played, he scored about 8 goals, I think, and he's come back a completely different player this year. And the goals he's scoring, like little touch, bang. They don't have to be great shots. Just get them on target. There's a few that's bobbled over people when they're going to dive to get it. And like, he's doing really well. And I think the system suits him. We're more attacking minded. We're getting more crosses into the box. And we've got Edouard up front as well, who's looking really good. And he's probably thinking, well, if I don't perform, he's going to play. So it's a little bit of like psychology there from the manager. He said, right, well, there's other centre forwards here. Wilf can play up front. So he's upped his game, and we're benefiting from it. And long may it continue. I don't want to be giving them stick, put it that way.
I have to say, and Gel's been a similar sort of mindset to you over the last couple of years. But he's always said that he just hopes he does come good. Well, and I wonder if what you just said is right, Jim. That it's the competition for places. We've got Alisi's coming on the wing, and he's going to be a player as well.
Yeah.
You've got Edouard. Somebody just asked in the chat, how do we play all these guys together? How do you get now? And don't forget we've got Eze as well. Eze, Alisi, Edouard, all to come back in. How the hell do we play them?
Just look at the subs bench yesterday. The strikers we had on the subs bench would have put the fear of God up after the Premiership.
It's a nice problem to have.
Yeah, like
he probably can't play both of them up front all the time, but it's nice. I mean, they're always rotating players, and we've never really, Benteke could have loads of crap games a few years ago, and he'd still play because we had nobody else. Now we've got much more personnel that can play up there. And it's making everything look a lot better.
So we actually had a chance to go 2-0 up before they'd actually equalised. Gallagher had a chance. Benteke had laid it off to Connor, whose shot went straight into the arms of Pope. It was a bit of a weak effort by Connor. Somebody said that they thought it was a better game. I didn't think it was quite as good a game as he'd been having. Maybe the England thing got to him a little bit. Maybe he's a little bit tired after the England stubborn. I thought he actually acquitted himself very well on his England debut, and massive congratulations from the review to Connor for that. Okay, and sadly, I think that the fact that you've made your appearance for England, you just probably put another 10 million quid on your price tag. So you're getting further and further away from us at the end of the season. So we could have been, and probably should have been, 2-0 up at that point. On the 19th minute, equaliser, set piece, corner in from the right, Mark Geehee. Didn't follow his marker. Ayew and Mark got in each other's way during the flight of the ball, and the ball went straight to Ben Mee, who heads it home. They only had one shot at goal at that point. Okay, one attempt at goal, one set piece, one goal. God,
he was all over our defender, though.
Say again, Nige.
He was all over our defender.
Yeah, and if you look at that, do you know what? When the goal went in, I did wonder whether the VAR would have a look at that. Because you're right. But
live in the ground, we thought that was going to go to VAR.
Yeah. and VAR, I think, missed a couple of tricks yesterday. And I haven't got, guys, I haven't got it in my notes. But did any of you see the stamp on Luka Milivojevic?
No.
No?
Yeah.
I'll tell you now. I saw it on a clip sent to me just on, I think it was on Facebook or something. How the hell wasn't that looked at? Can anybody in Facebook land tell me who it was that stamped on Milivojevic? Because he didn't just do it once. He actually went in for a double stamp, and the referee didn't even pull back play. He didn't stop play. He certainly didn't book him. And it's certainly, somebody said, Paul Glant said, it was a bad stamp. Anybody tell me who it was? Colin Squires just said, it was a double stamp. And Ryan Hinton saying, that is a red card all day long. And it wasn't picked up on Match of the Day. It wasn't picked up on any of the highlights. Somebody has just said it was Liston that did that. Okay, dirty scumbag. Okay, because that was a leg breaker. I'm sorry, but that was a leg breaker. Am I not allowed to say that? Right, moving on then. Jill, I remember on this show, I don't know how many years ago now, 3 years ago, you singing the plaudits of Chris Wood. Now, on the 27th minute, Chris Wood, Gell's always liked him, I said in my notes, free kick outside the box, is it Tchaikovsky, whatever his name is, puts it back in the mix and Woods heads it home. Poor effort from him, I put in my notes from Guaita. He seemed to be either dive late for it or dive over the ball. Gell, your thoughts on that, your boyfriend's Chris Wood's goal?
Well, firstly, I said that we should have bought him when Millwall was selling him. I just thought he was the kind of player that we needed, who's just ag up front and he just runs all day long. He's got a great engine, scores goals, loves it. Obviously, he's very happy where he is. But yeah, listen, I'm amazed that we don't have players on the post. I thought it was just sort of standard in football. I can remember that. It's almost schoolboy. I know football evolves and everything, and some people they want you to mark in sections and grid marking, but for me, I mean, if there's someone on the line, they don't score that goal, and again. Guaita was, I think the dive looked bad because he was so late on it. He was late on it. It was one of them. I don't know. I looked at it at first and I thought it just reminded me of that Wimbledon goalkeeper that dived at, and you remember Hans Seggers when he dived over the ball for the Everton goal, so that Everton stayed in the league or didn't get relegated on the last day. It was a little bit like that.
He got a massive bump, mate.
But I don't know. It's just we can just sit here and rip the crap out of it all the time. But again, it didn't look like it. I mean, he was unmarked as well. That's what we should be more worried about. If you look at the last picture that Greg just put up, producer Greg just put up. I mean, look at him. There's no challenge. Got 3-4 players. Look, there you go. So I mean, the ball's gone past Ward. Looks like Ben. Yeah, Ben's got his left leg up in the air. Sorry, I think it might be Kuwate. Gay's just standing there. I mean, it's a bit of a, I don't know. I mean, he's 6 yards out. You can see where he is, and there's no challenge. There's no one within, I don't know, at least looks like 2 meters of him. So if you get a free header and the ball is, the pace is on the cross, it is what it is.
Right,
So
Jim, I'm going to come to you in a minute because I just want to ask you, was Guaita's view blocked by those players in front of him? I suggest that the answer was. But before I do, I'm getting pelters in the chat, okay? I called him Tchaikovsky, okay? And somebody, our friends at redandblueeagles.com have come back and said Tchaikovsky was a Russian composer, not a Burnley centre forward. Somebody has said... was Tchaikovsky 18 or 12? 18-12 overture, boys. It's you uneducated tossers, okay? And Teresa Baker has said it's Tarkowski. So I'm getting heaps of crap in the chat for Tchaikovsky. Jim, was the goalkeeper's view blocked?
Yeah, well, there was a few players, a few bodies there, but the bottom line is it was another ball that come in to the far end of the park, headed back, and we've got three. You've just pointed out, got 3 to 4. Look like 4 defenders there, but certainly 3 there that have all gone towards the ball that's gone over their heads, and they've left a centre forward that can score a few goals completely free in the box. I don't think the keeper had any chance with it. It's the way it went in. He was close to the goal. It's just a reaction. He might get it. It is poor defending. And that's the one I keep saying about. It gets knocked to the far. It gets headed back. And players, as it goes over their head, obviously turn and go towards the ball. Just stand with your man. He's the one you're marking. It might come back to him like it did with Woods. So that was really poor defending. I mean, as a manager, he would have been gone daft with that goal because it should never have come about. I mean, he's a centre forward. How did he get that much space in the 6-yard box? It's ridiculous.
Go on, Jill.
So, point in case, when Gay scored his goal, the bullet header from Anderson that was fired straight at Pope that he parried out, if we can get a freeze frame of that, I think that there were at least 4 Burnley players along that line with them, but they were on both posts. So, look, you've got a player left. That's where 3 players there. And I bet if you could move that over again, there'd be another player. So, I know for a fact that the 3 players there, they were on the line. Well, because it hit him, deflected in off the line. So, but the marking from corners, their marking was mild. It was just completely, vastly different from us. So, they have a player. I mean, he's just sticking his left leg out to try and just deflect it to stop the ball, the shot. But he's covering the left side of the goal or the right side of the goalkeeper. And into the left side of the goalkeeper, there's 3 or 4 Burnley players all close to that line. So, it's the marking was. We need a lot of work in defence, I think. And that's all it is. We've got practically, we've got half of a new team. We need to just bit more practice, a bit more work on the training grounds, and it will come good. It will come good. We know it will. We've seen what we can do. It will come good. But it was just disappointing. 2 of the goals were very disappointing yesterday.
Okay, Nigel, you want to make a point?
Yeah, I just want to sort of wind back 30 seconds before the goal and talking about Mr. Hooper. It was a very, very feeble free kick that he awarded, and he was like that all afternoon, giving little nitty-picky free kicks, but then the likes of the stamp on Luca and I think Anderson's tackle at the end, I think he was very lucky to stay on the pitch for that one. Fair enough, that was down at the other end of the field from where we were, but to us, we thought all day long that was going to be a straight red. And
Nick,
I'm sorry. Talk to me about Benteke's second goal because we haven't actually covered it. You frozen now, Jill?
No.
Go on then. Talk to me about Benteke's second goal then.
Oh, well, it's all about Connor. There's a punt over to Connor, who's he traps the ball fantastically, switches feet, and with the way that the 2 defenders have gone with him, basically, as he puts it through, bends on a run. The pace of the pass to him just evades the other defender that's trying to cover, and literally middles the life out of it. I mean, if that was a golf club hitting a golf ball, it's a 350-yard drive. I mean, the keeper had 0 chance. And again, a really good finish. But like I said before, the ball comes to him. It's in his path, but he just nails it. He's got no time to think. Just the pass is there. He's there. Bosh, goal. So again, clinical. And as we've just discussed, 2 of their goals are soft, but our goals were legit clinical goals. So it's only mistakes that are costing us. But yeah, I mean, Ben's second goal. How many goals has he got this year? He's doing all right. It's me going, he couldn't kick himself in a sleeping bag over the last couple of years, but he's doing all right now. So,
and Benteke actually had a hat-trick chance after that. Okay, where he headed wide of the post. I know one of you mentioned that earlier. Jim, did you see Connor put the ball in for him where Benteke headed it wide? Did you see in the background? Did you notice Gallagher's response?
Well, yeah, no, I didn't, but he would definitely be unhappy. Yeah,
he was.
That was his easiest chance of the afternoon. Just get it on target. But he didn't turn his head far enough. I don't know why. Just let the ball come and just goal it up. But I mean, that happens. But yeah, if he hit the target, it was in the back of the net. It was the easiest chance for anybody all afternoon.
Yeah, and Gallagher was literally on the floor, bashing the crap out of the turf. The fact that Benteke had actually missed it. Real panel, as you said, that's Paul. Evening, Paul. Hope you well, mate. Great play from Gallagher for the second goal. And, mate, it was. Yes, Joe.
Just quickly, Gary Milton's one of loads of people have been saying 4 goals, but he's just given me the stats. Benteke 4, Zaha 4, Gallagher 4 goals. So, yeah, spreading them about, but it's good.
Yeah, sorry, mate. Let's move on to the second half. I suppose we better talk about their winning, their equalising goal. 49th minute, Maxwell Cornet. Who's got a name? Who would have a name like Cornet? Maxwell Cornet crashes in a great strike into the top of the net. Joel Ward loses Cornet. Poor defending by Palace. Quality goal, yeah? Who wants to take the goal?
Well, that's it. So he slipped the defender. And he wasn't going to miss from there, and so the roof of the net absolutely bulged. Sort of perfect positioning. Sort of keeper was never going to get to it.
Jill?
Yeah, no, I disagree. I can see. So Jim said earlier that with the goals, the players are drawn to the ball, and that flick on that gets to him, but. All the work is to get that. I mean, that's a screamer. That is no easy finish to do that. He could have just ended up at the back of the stands. You know what I mean? That was an absolute screamer and worthy of an equalising goal. To be honest with you, I mean, if we'd have scored that, we'd have wanted it. You know, we'd have wanted it on a loop. So, but yeah, I think he's a very underrated player. I've seen a lot of stuff on social media about him, and you know, the Burnley fans especially can't believe that they've actually got him. So, but yeah, it's a game. I thought, but 3-3, it justified. Neither team deserved to lose that yesterday.
And I mean, you've already alluded to the late chances. You're right, Joel, because it could have been won by either team. Goodmanson had a good shot and a very good save low down by Benteke. We had a shot from across from Luca, Zaha on the edge of the box, and he, as you quite rightly pointed out about 3/4 of an hour ago, Joel, thanks for that. He larruped it. He absolutely larruped it.
Crossbar's still smoking.
I didn't actually realise until I saw that rewound it that he actually got a touch on it. I thought it came crashing straight
out for a corner.
Squad. I thought he got straight under the bar. It wasn't. It was a good touch on my post.
No, I did go out for a corner.
And he went out for a corner, as you rightly say. And in the dying second, Vidra had a chance to win it. It was another fine save by VG, which is what we know is his strength. Did anybody notice what happened at that point on their bench? No, I didn't think you would, because I only noticed it after I watched it back for a second time. Who was on their bench yesterday? Palace connections.
Calamity Jane.
Calamity Wayne Hennessy. Did you see him? His response to that shot by Vidra and the save by Guaita. He was going ballistic on the bench. I mean, talk about how your loyalties change. I mean, you think you still have a little bit of loyalty to Palace. Christ, he stole a living from us for the last 8 years or whatever it was, and then. Then he was. I mean, I know he's with his new team, and I get that. I'm being facetious, but he was absolutely gutted that they didn't go on and win it.
There was a lot of love between the two of them after the final whistle.
What between the two goalkeepers, was there?
No, between Hennessy and Vincento. Sort of Wayne made a point of coming over. You know, sort of when everybody's faded off the pitch.
Yeah.
And Vincento's almost the last one off. Hennessy did make a point.
Did he come over?
And had a big man hug in the middle.
Nigel?
Ian Nobles in the chat said there was a lot of love for Wayne from the Palace squad before kick-off in the warm-up. Well,
Yeah.
so that was nice.
Good.
But, after...
Yeah, and as Teresa Baker's just pointed out in the chat, he's playing for Burnley and getting paid by them now. So it's what you'd expect, for sure. So we're a quarter of the way through the Premier League campaign, gentlemen. Already played 11 games. But how are Palace... 12 games, is it? How are Palace doing compared to the same point last season? The Eagles finished 14th last term, and things are looking similar this time round, with 1 point fewer they had after 11 matches. So there you go. And this is at 11 matches, Nigel. And we want to know how you're feeling about it out in Facebook land. Okay, we've come out of the third international break of the season. We've got a massive busy run-up to Christmas, and we have got some winnable games. Jim, how do you think Patrick Vieira's team is doing in comparison to Roy Hodgson's team last season, please?
Oh, well, I would say, and I'm sure the fans will agree with me, 100 times better just by the football they're playing. I think we got a better side. I mean, the signings that they've made, especially Gallagher, although he's only on loan, have made a hell of a difference. I think the young lad, Elise, when he starts getting the regular game, you've got Eddie coming back, Edward. The whole thing looks better. I'm sure that fans are going to games now to enjoy watching the style of play. Because let's face it, as much as Roy Hodgson done a good job, it was boring to watch. It was just let teams dictate for 40, 50 minutes and hopefully catch them on the break. Now we're taking the game. You know, I heard a few people moan at the Wolves game because we were keeping hold of the ball, but the way we're playing, we've got to keep the ball. These teams are defending deep, so we've got to have more passes to see an opening that we can get through. The football's just 100 times better. We've got loads and loads of possession. And like yesterday's game, every time we go forward as a unit, we've got loads of bodies up there and we look as if we might score a goal. Whereas the last few years, it weren't, maybe once or twice in a game, we create a chance and maybe score a goal. So I think the whole thing has been transformed by Patrick Vieira. He's done a great job. I'm surprised he's got out of that lot, how quickly he's got them playing. There's still a work to do, especially on the defending side. But hey, we look a team that can score goals. We'll finish in the top 8, no doubt at all. Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, you look at the games that we've thrown away. You know, I thought yesterday's result was a really good result. They could have scored, but a couple of mistakes cost us goals. We've thrown away. I'm conservative, 6 points. We'll be in the top 4, top 6. You know, last second goal. I mean, and last kick of the ball goals, which really it should never have happened. So yeah, I'm really confident. I think that's the best team I've seen at Palace since I played in the 1980s.
And Joe, I've seen you. Nigel, I've seen you too. Jim, before I ask one of the other guys a question, I'm intrigued to know, how did you big up the games as an ambassador in the lounges last season? And I know it's easy for you to do this season because it's all exciting stuff. So how did you put a positive spin on things?
We didn't. We were in lockdown. Always listen. When we were there, I'll have a go at the team if I think they're crap. I always used to say that I'm not enjoying watching this football. I think we're a bit boring. We set up the team not to lose a game of football, which is invariably we all want to not lose a game of football, but you've got to give something else as well, and we're certainly getting that now. So I had a year off last year.
Good lad. Nice.
Like everybody.
Right. Sort of, you're saying that we're sort of same points as this time last season. I've got a spreadsheet going, and I'm comparing games against games. So I've substituted the 3 teams that went down for the 3 teams that have come up.
Yeah.
And like for like games, we are 7 points better off than we were last season.
Hold that thought. I'm coming back to that in a second. Jill.
Well, I'll go straight into the chat, and again, you just seen it come up on the screen. Kevin Benson said Roy's team could defend but not score. Vieira's team can score but not defend. Teresa Baker said the players look much happier even in training. You can see Wolf is to be enjoying himself now. He's not scowling, he's smiling. Ian Noble said the comparison to last year is best made once we've had the first round of fixtures around New Year. We've had the toughest start of any side. Richard Young, as Tyrone said, and we're getting closer to Brighton, which is good because we give them a 10-point start, which is going to be amazing. Once we go past them again, put them in their place, they'll just go back to being depressed, their fan base. And Luke Cooper said each game that goes by, I'm getting so confident if this Palace team can get results, and that's the last year we were, for the years we were just saying that all we wanted to do was just stay up. This is the first time that I've seen ambition, and that's going to sound a horrible thing because Hodgson did what he needed to do, but we're showing ambition. We've shown ambition in the market to bring in certain players. And by bringing in Vieira, it looks like it's been an amazing success so far. And I'm going to say so far because until the season's finished, I've seen us being right up the top and been fighting relegation at the end of the season. So, but yeah, it's Paul Glance said every time we go forward, we look like we can score. Remember that he said can't remember that since Jim Cannon. So and Georgia Wagbu said I'd be happy if we get 8th or 9th. But again, you're saying top 8, Jim. That's what I said. Start of the season, 8th or 18th. This was either going to work or it was going to be a nightmare. And it looks to be working. So very happy.
So that table was
place,
taken.
Look at that. Played 12, 16 points.
Yeah, go on.
No, go on. I'm just saying, look, it's 10th place. Look at Brighton. Look, they're only a point in front of us. We're +3 on the goal difference over them as well, which is just it's fantastic. We're +3 over them. And
the only thing that jumps off the page to me there was the sad reality was Man United actually sacking Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Okay, I actually wanted to go into the Old Trafford game away with him actually at the helm because I think the way they were playing was appalling. The sad reality is I think we'll probably get who's taking over. Carrick's taking over for a couple of weeks, and I think they might get a little bit of a bounce out of that. But I mean, that table, as far as we're concerned, we've got to be looking up, Jim, and as opposed to looking down.
Well, when you look at all them teams above us, we've more or less played every one of them, haven't we? We've still got probably 9 games with teams that are below us to come. Obviously, we got them twice, but yeah, we've had quite a hard run in, and the table looks good. Table looks good.
Have you looked at the goal difference?
Hang on, Jill. So our next fixtures are obviously Villa next week at Sellers Park. I'm going to the Leeds game, so if you're going to the Leeds game, please come up and say hello, say something nice about the Red and Blue Review. And then obviously 5th of December, Old Trafford. Home to Everton on the 12th of December. Here we go. They're coming thick and fast now. 3 days later, home to Southampton. And as Jim has just rightly pointed out, all of these are winnable games. And Watford away on the 18th of December. And then it's bloody Christmas. So there are plenty of points there and plenty of room for optimism. Joe, did you want to make a point? Because I was just going to move on to something else.
Just very quickly, Paul McNamara, OBE. Would you get in this team, Jim?
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Even now.
No, not now. Not, have you seen my knees?
Right. The reason I was asking you about the comparison against this time last year, and I've got a few little boring stats for you. Goals per game under Vieira, 1.36 against for Hodgson, 1.08. Expected goals per game, 1.33 with Vieira and 1.02 under Hodgson. Goals conceded, better one. We let him 3 years. So goals conceded per game, 1.27 under Vieira and 1.73 with Hodgson. Bear in mind, he's supposed to be the tactical defensive genius. Okay, so points per game, average for Palace under Vieira, 1.36 and 1.16 for Hodgson. And I've got to tell you, I think I know I have got a dog in the background. Yes, indeed. I think the future is definitely bright, and the future is definitely red and blue. Boys, predictions, please, for the Villa game. Okay, Nigel, I'm coming to you first. What do you think for the Villa game before we wrap up for the evening?
I'm going for another clean sheet. I think 2-0 to the Palace.
I thought you were going to say 2-2 there under the clean sheet. Jim, your thoughts on the?
Yeah, I hope it's 2-0 to us, but I just hate playing against teams when new managers come in, especially somebody like Gerrard, and they've just got a win under the belt. So, but yeah, I think if we play to the way we've been playing, then I can see us winning. Not comfortably, because you don't win comfortably in the Premier. 2-0. Yeah, I'll agree with Nige, yeah.
Okay, Joe, I'm coming to you next, mate. Just quickly in the chat, Ryan saying 2-1 Palace. Andrew saying 1-1 Villa. 1-1 against Villa. Teresa saying 3-0 Palace, optimistic. And lots of 2-1s. George, Tom, and by the way, Tom Clark Samuel, you're a superstar. Some of your graphics this week, you've even surpassed yourself. Rob Cranswell saying 3-0. Paul English is saying 2-0. Joe, your predictions for next week?
3-1.
3-1. Yeah, I think the most intriguing thing about the next coming weeks, and it was part of one of the points I was going to make earlier, is how lucky we have been with injuries so far. If you cast your mind back to this time last year and the year before, that treatment table, there was a queue to get on it. I know it was always blocked by Connor Wickham. He was always in there, but we actually had so many injuries this time last year, so many players out. This year, if you think about it, we've got some decent players coming back, to name just one, but we've only lost Maka. And I think, whilst Roy, he did, as Jim said earlier, he's done a job. Vieira has been very lucky, and maybe it's because the players actually want to play for him. They want to get their asses off the treatment table and get their asses back. But we have been, touch wood, so far, as we go into the busiest period of the year, pretty lucky, don't you think, Jim?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's always a big factor for a lot of teams. You've got to remember, under Roy, for 2 seasons, we never had a settled back four. I mean, we had centre-halves that were going down. I don't believe centre-halves should get injured every other week, but we seem to have about a heart full of them last year, the year before. So, yeah, it's an important thing. I mean, Conor Gallagher gets injured, our game changes completely. So it's just nice to keep everybody safe and well and fit, and it makes it a hell of a lot easier for the manager, obviously.
And also, Ryan just mentioned it in the chat, that of course young Ferguson, the right back, is now back training with the full team, with the first team, and he's right. So you never know, we might even see him. We've got FA Cup coming up, so an opportunity for all these French players. We haven't even mentioned Hughes, the guy that we signed from Watford. He's sitting on the bench, keeping it warm every week. We've actually got quite a good, something I've been advocating for years, a decent backup squad in most positions. So things are looking good. Joe, you gave me your prediction, didn't you? I think we were about to wrap there with me, boys, because I know Greg has got
yours.
Jim, just to let you know, the Red and Blue Review team try and get together every now and again for a Ruby. Okay, I know you're a Ruby fan. So hopefully, I don't know if we've managed to get it in before Christmas, but if you do, of course, you're more than welcome to come and join us. What's your next game on the review? Can you remember? I can't remember off the top of my head.
It's December. Who have we got in December? Don't know.
But don't forget, you're welcome back any time. Boys, I think we're going to wrap it while I go and strangle my dog, okay? Or my wife is not controlling the dog, one or the other. Nice, thanks as always, Jill, superstar. And talking about superstars, who put your name tag up tonight, Jim?
I don't know. I can't see it.
It says Jim Cannon, aka Ledge in brackets.
Yeah, no, it weren't me. It weren't me.
I'm going to nick your tagline next week. And I think Nick Philpott, aka Ledge, on it. Boys,
it might have been Ian.
it was probably Greg in the background, mate. Jim, as always, mate. Thank you for joining us. Great to see you, buddy.
No problem.
Ladies and gentlemen out of Facebook land, thank you for joining us this evening. Have a safe week. You two factions, please keep each other's way. We're all Palace fans. We are one family, one Palace family. The ladies, the under-23s, the under-21s, and you two factions. We love you all. Please, God bless and stay safe. On behalf of myself, Nick Philpott, and the rest of the team, take care. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.